guys, how's it going? Today we're going to be doing some work around the chicken coop. I'm hoping to make it all the way around. I don't know if we'll make it that far. We're going to start here in the front because I think it's going to be in the shade for at least the next hour or two. We've got some general maintenance in terms of pruning, cutting back, but there are also a few plants that I want to dig out that I don't like in this space anymore. We need to repot the window box, things like that, because this area has kind of grown out of control. Oh my goodness. So, you know, the other day we were out here, we planted this Norway spruce, which I absolutely love seeing that there. Nothing I really need to do in that space. But moving this direction, we did not have time that day to repot the window box, and it did really well. We've got the geraniums we started from seed. We'll repot those. And then we had these super bells. I think that's Great Punch. They grew really well, bloomed really well, but you know, they're starting to peter out with the cooler temperatures. So I'm ready to have something new in the window box. I'm gonna take these daylilies out. These are the Going Bananas, and I do like the color of the blooms and things, but I just don't like them right here. And I might just pop a few cabbage and kale that I have left over from other projects just to fill in the space for now. Okay, boys, no fighting. Anyway, there's some Blue Sky Supertunia, which still has a little bit of blooms, but the plants look pretty tired. I'll probably pull those. I did plant some dahlias in here. These are supposed to be pink, and they're burgundy. They're real pretty. So we'll leave those, but I need to train this rose because, oh my word, look at it. That's a Zephyrin Druin. I need to do some pruning and some training around the window. I love the growth this year though. I mean, that's awesome. Look at that. Oh, we're gonna have some beautiful pink blooms up over the window next year. And then we've got some roses I just need to cut back. Some wild arms growing there. This is the Supertunia Vista Ultramarine. Did beautifully. I think I'm gonna leave those for now, just because they still have some color. They look pretty. And this is the other dahlia I planted, and this is the color I thought I planted in the other space too. Isn't that beautiful? There's the girls. Hi, girls. And then right here, we've got some lemon coral sedum still looking nice. I don't think I'm gonna worry about doing too much raking because these trees are just dropping like crazy right now. But there is quite a bit of rose maintenance I need to do in here. This topiary is completely leaning back. What in the world? Take a look at that. Going through this way. Might have time to move the Brunnera. These have lived in full sun all season. Looking pretty good for full sun. Brunnera typically does better in shade. But look at this rose. It's like a huge shrub now. And this area I've just kind of let go because I thought we were going to get to it earlier and didn't. I need to move all the iris because I've got a crabapple here. I mean, this area is going to look way different, hopefully, when we get done today. This will be pruned back. Irises will be gone. When they bloom up into the canopy of the crabapple. So it's just really not a good location for them anymore. I also really need to move that lamb's ear because we're going to be coming in with maybe some larger things because this is now going to be the back of this flower bed. The hibiscus I'll probably leave today, but I'm thinking about moving those. I don't really like them here anymore. And look at this iris. Like, oh my gosh, that's almost as tall as me. Coming out of that crabapple. It's just a huge jumble. And then we've got some foxglove that we planted here. These are a second year bloomer, so those will stay put. I think those are an apricot variety. We'll get to enjoy the blooms next year. And then these are just annuals that we'll pull the Bidens maybe. There's still some color though, so I hate to pull them yet, but most of the plants looking tired. We haven't been cold enough for the coleus to be taken yet, but anyway, that's just kind of a look at what I've got going on in this flower bed. We need to move this as well. This is a basket of gold alyssum. This whole section is going to change a little bit, minus like the crabapple and the maple and the foxglove. Pedro is coming, I think next Monday, to finish some gravel back here. So what he'll do is bring the bricks over. So we'll have the swoop, and then it'll turn and make the corner so that we don't lose the definition of the swoop. Initially, we thought about just continuing on and going straight with the brick and making all of this gravel, but I think that's way too wide. So we're gonna come over with the brick and then go that way with it to where this looks like kind of a separate section. It'll be all gravel right in here, so it'll look like a walkway to the bench. And then everything behind it will be flower bed. And once that's done, we'll have a better feel for the space, plus all the cleaning out that I'll do today will kind of help as well. And then we'll decide what direction a pathway will go, if we decide to even keep a pathway in this area. If we do, we will likely swap the pallets out for flagstones and do pallets somewhere else. But you guys, these pallets, pallet slats are the originals. from when we very first put in the pallet walkway, which has been years ago. I remember the comments that we got on the pallet walkway. There were so many of you guys who were like, this is such a cool thing, and it was so cheap. It was like $75 for the whole pathway, and that really was just buying the landscape staples or the pins to keep them down. Other than that, it was just elbow grease getting it done. But there was a lot of, those boards are going to rot, you're going to, attract termites, all those kinds of things, and none of which happened. It still lives on even today. And it's such a whimsical look, It's probably something that I'll want to continue on, but it's a little bit more fitting out in the south garden, I think, at this point. But we'll see. I just want this space to feel like it's sort of connected. I don't want it to be formal because we've got enough formality, but I want it to feel cohesive with what we've got going on this side. So we'll work towards that. One thing I want to show you before we start it, and that is this Julia Child tree rose. I have to tell you, these have been the most productive, most beautiful roses. Oh my gosh. I mean, the most robust rose tree I've about ever seen. That one over there gets a ton more sun. It's actually losing its leaves a little bit faster. So they've always been on a little bit of a different schedule, I think, because this one gets a little bit more shade. But I just had to come show you because they're so beautiful. Okay, now let's get started up here. I think what I'm going to do first is go through and prune back all the wild mangy growth. We'll dig out the daylilies and get some stuff planted. So we'll kind of do phase one here. We'll work through that, and then I'll stop and give you a tour, and then we'll keep working our way around. Maybe by the time we get to the back part, it'll be in more shade this afternoon. Much better, isn't it? I mean, you can actually see some of the plants that those roses were just hanging over. So that's what we started with, and it does look much better. So those are all tacked up there on the chicken coop. And this is what I use right here. These are just coax staples. They have a really small nail, and then of course the white plastic matches the Coop, which is perfect, and then some wire. So if we get in here close, you can see there's one right in there, and then I can just use the wire to attach the branch wherever I want it to go. There's another one. And then I did like one here and one here, and then hopefully, because the Zephrines, they grow like 20 to 25 feet, I'm hoping to get them all the way, maybe train some down. Oh, that's just so exciting. And the dahlia is really nice. That's one individual plant right there. It does have a stake on it. And even though it's not pink like I thought it was going to be, the burgundy is very pretty. I had one of the crane kale left, which kind of filled in that space. I had six. There's 5 here. And then I put the 6 there because I didn't have enough space for it. But the 5 coral queen kale, a few little pansies. Like I didn't even have enough pansies to fill this up, but I just thought, you know what, better use them and get them in the ground and enjoy them instead of just letting them sit in the greenhouse. I did a little trimming on these roses. They had a few canes coming out, but they're such a pretty color. Love those. And then left that. The other thing we did was the window box, and again, just use leftover plants. These are the New Look Dusty Miller that I started from seed this spring. And I used all the rest of them up by our kitchen, and I mean, they're massive. They're like this tall, huge leaves. These stayed really tidy and compact in their little 4-inch containers in the greenhouse. In fact, I'm surprised they did as well as they have, holding in there because it was so hot in there for most of the season. And then some orange pansies and 2 creeping Jenny, I think. What variety is it? I used the other ones up in the pots in the Versailles garden. Yeah, here it is. Persian chocolate is the variety name. That's just a nice little delicate filler with pretty color. Love the pink stems on it. I decided to leave the daylilies for now just because I knew I didn't have enough stuff to fill it, and I didn't really want there to be a hole, at least not right yet. So we'll take care of that later, and once I groomed them, they look a lot better. So now we can move to the side of the coop right here, where we're going to be doing much the same thing, training the roses, cutting back perennials. And what I'll probably do is work my way around digging up perennials that need to move, and then we'll do a tour in the end. Much done as I can get done this afternoon on the chicken coop area. We are out in the south garden now because that's where I planted the basket of gold alyssum. The other plants are near the raised bed vegetable garden, so we'll head that direction next, and then we'll take a look at the whole area around the chicken coop. I honestly feel like the addition of this plant was perfect for this space because it's surrounded by plants of very different color and texture. We have a peony here that blooms kind of a soft yellow. There's an agastache right here, and then daylilies right here. But having that silvery blue foliage out here is so pretty. And I think this one will be blooming before this one will be, but even so, I think the two tones of yellow that we have here are really pretty. Other than that, I mean, we've got some bulbs out here that will pop up, and there is a white lilac back there, but that's it for spring interest thus far. So it might be nice to add even more of these out here. So pretty, and that's such a substantial clump. That was planted by, I think, the previous owners. It was here in the location where it was planted until just a little bit ago. It was there when we moved in, behind the gazebo area. And so anyway, it's just one that I've really enjoyed throughout the years. I've really loved the color of both the leaves and the blooms. So now let's run to the raised bed garden. That's where the Brunnera ended up. Here we are, and here are the Brunnera. I think this variety, if I can remember correctly, is Silver Heart, maybe? I planted this along the pallet walkway before we removed the gazebo and the pergola that was back there. And it was very shaded when I planted these originally. And then, you know, as we removed things, it got sunnier and sunnier. So these are looking, you know, a little worse for the wear. But I mean, the fact that they handled 100+ temps in full sun all day long, full sun, that's pretty impressive to me. That's a tough plant. I think they'll be much happier in this location. We're on the north side of this picket fence. They'll get a little bit of filtered morning sun that will come through this way. And then this is pretty much what it looks like in the afternoon in this spot. And this has been like the poor, lonely, forgotten spot over here. Same with that flower bed over there. In fact, I think I need to replace all the drip in these beds because as I was digging, I could see where the drip had run last. And not all of the emitter holes had moisture around them, just some of them. So I think we're dealing with some plugging and that sort of business. But anyway, it just filled this space beautifully. Oh my gosh. And those are the only things I actually had time to dig up and move. As I was working through the project, I think the only other thing I'm going to dig and transplant are the iris. So that'll be on the docket like here really soon. And then I think eventually I'll move those hibiscus out, but let's take a look. Okay, so you can see we have more sun up here now in the afternoon. In the fall and winter, the sun's position in the sky is more this way. So this avalanche birch, which I absolutely adore, does provide a lot more shade. In the summer, this is full sun. Like right now, this would be in the full blasting sun. So anyway, I'm happy with how it kind of tidied up. This was the next area. I, again, did not do a real thorough job of raking because, you know, every day we would need to be out here raking. I really took after the roses. These were so dang thick. I mean, so thick. I will come in and I'm going to do even more thinning out in the late winter, early spring. At that point, what I usually do is train canes horizontally as best as I can. And then I leave little, what do they call them, like spurs or something? I don't know. I just cut back to the first node on all of these little branches, and then they produce blooms on every single one of them. They're amazing. I have leaves in there. I need to get the blower out and see if I can blow them out because there is like this poly top to protect the chickens, you know, in the winter time. They're just in there chilling. Hey, Bev, where are the other girls? Oh, there they are. You're both down here. Hey. They're like, oh, I can see light now. They were so shrouded, which was probably really pleasant in the summertime. It was nice and shaded in there. But I had cut a bunch of like these new stems. You can tell the difference. These are the older ones that have more like ridges. They're thicker, they're more woody looking. And then the ones that are like bright green and fresh, I usually cut most of those out. I left a few in the interior on this one that will probably come out when I prune again. I didn't do anything with this juniper right here. I need to trim it up, and I tried to pull it in the pot and make it straighter and it would not budge. So I'm thinking that's going to probably need to come out because it's not getting enough sun here anyway. So I think we'll do maybe in the spring we'll do a prune and transplant. Maybe this fall yet. This is where all the Brunnera came from. I only dug this area. I left that one because it looks really pretty right there and it doesn't have as much burn. And I don't know, I might want it there. So I just left it for now. And then you can see kind of where I stopped. This is where the iris need to be dug out. So I'll do that. I'm gonna leave the lamb's ear for now as well, because it's possible we might come through with a small pathway to get through this flower bed. And I'll want something soft and sort of like that underneath the crabapple. It's a good height. It's not, you know, getting into the canopy of the crabapple tree. So it's kind of nice that way. But the rose, I really took after that one. Oh my word. I actually found some powdery mildew on this one because it was just so dang thick. There was no way for air to circulate. So anyway, there's all branches that I should just cut out now, like these vertical ones. It's nice on this structure though, because I can wire straight to the hardware cloth on the Coop. There were a couple of times where I put in one of those tack things. What do they call them? I just showed you. Coax clip, is that right? What I think I want to try to do, I'm going to try to coax this one out. In fact, I wonder, I should just do that now. You know what? I need both hands for that. I'm going to try to pull this one out and then we'll tack it here and train it that direction. So the only other thing was the basket of gold, because that was just kind of perched out here, and then everything else I left. So like I said, the hibiscus, I just am not happy with it in this location anymore. It's too big. It's not a different enough texture to the October Glory maple here, and they look a little bit messy to me. Plus I want the crabapple to really be the plant that shines here. So we'll probably, I'm gonna enjoy the fall color and, you know, the little bit of bloom color that they still have left. And then we'll, you know, cut them back and move them, or I'll find a new home for them, one of the two. And at that point, I will attack the other Zephyrian rose that's back here. You can see some like big canes coming out. So we'll need to prune that up a bit. But I'm really happy with the progress today. I've been looking at those Brunnera for a while, so it feels good to have those at least dug up, and that alyssum. And those roses, oh my gosh, every time I do a prune job like that, I feel like I can breathe easier, and I know the plant can breathe easier. And it got warm. It's like 77 right now, and the next 10 days, so I just talked about how we had a freeze on the forecast, but it's gone now. The lowest we're going to get in the next 10 days, it looks like, is 35. So I mean, pruning and doing all of this kind of business, I'm not worried about it in the slightest, because everything I pruned today has a good 10 days before it's going to get, I mean, it might be more than 10 days until it gets cold enough to where it was something that I need to be thinking about and maybe not doing severe pruning and that sort of thing. So anyway, super happy with this area. It feels good to do some maintenance out here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.